Welcome to The Global Girlfriend.
Shall we book a trip to Perth, Australia?
Yep.
Well, hey everyone, welcome back to The Global Girlfriend. My name's Morgan,
And my name's Brianna.
and we're a podcast that's all about travel, living abroad, adventure, and all the stories and connection that go into that. Today, we are doing an episode that we are particularly passionate about, and we hope you are too. And it is how to be luxury slash bougie, if you will, on a budget. This, I feel like, is the Global Girlfriend's tagline. It should be, and something that Brianna and I live for. And we're all about traveling, having those amazing experiences. So, not cutting ourselves short, but doing it on a budget. So, this episode, we're going to kind of dive into that. We're going to share stories, we're going to share tips, and we're going to share just all the things that go into how to curate just one of the best experiences on your trips and in your life, but maybe not breaking the bank. Okay, I guess just starting, as we like stories here at the Global Girlfriend, let's just kind of go into a story. So, Brianna, does a trip in your life come to mind where you have had a luxury experience but didn't spend too much?
Yes. So I live in Bali and I would recommend coming to Bali if you want to feel luxurious but be on a budget. Before I moved to Bali, I don't think I had ever had a professional massage. And here massages range between like 10 and $25. So I just remember the first time I was in like one of the first times that I was in Bali and I could actually afford like a full spa day with my girlfriends. And so we went and we got pedicures and we got foot massages and we got full massages and like face masks and like the whole run of the mill of spa experiences in like a beautiful setting where they give you a little tea at the end and like the lights are dim and they have the essential oil diffusers, like the whole full beautiful luxurious spa experience. And I think it was like $60 for 3 hours at the spa. Like it was absolutely amazing. And it was in that moment that I was like, oh, this is why people get massages. Like they're super nice. Um, so that was
Oh, for
definitely a
sure.
time where I felt extremely luxurious for literally not very much money. What about you? Do you have a core luxury memory?
Oh, goodness. Well, just side note, I love massages, so I have got to get to Bali and experience that. Okay. I mean, I feel like this is pretty ingrained in how my mind operates and how I travel. So there's so many that come to mind, but I guess maybe it's not super specific to one specific trip, but I feel like living in Albania and also just having traveled so much of Eastern Europe. Um, it's a place that is a little bit more undiscovered than Western Europe, but it is so beautiful, so much stunning nature and great food and whatnot, and for such good prices. And so I just feel like by traveling in maybe a lesser known place, like not known, everyone knows it, but maybe lesser traveled to in Eastern Europe and like Albania, for example. Um, just such good deals. Like getting coffee once, twice, three times a day, you're paying like the equivalent of like $1.50 for a cappuccino, and it will be the best cappuccino of your life. And I just feel like when you're traveling and living a life where you can have one, two, three cappuccinos and you're just sitting at a cafe just thriving, like you automatically feel like $1 million. And so that was just generally my life and a lot of my travels in Eastern Europe, and
I
you as well.
Honestly, same. That's where we used to hang out all the time, having beautiful cappuccinos in lovely cafes, and you can do it more than one time a day. I feel like buying a coffee is like kind of the North American standard for like, you need to save money by not drinking coffee outside of the house every day. And in Eastern Europe, you can drink coffee outside of the house many different times a day. So, love it. So, what we have created for you all today is a very specific formula called the luxury illusion formula. Now, we're not lying to people, but But we have sort of compiled a bunch of different tips for not not only how to appear luxurious, because it's not about appearances, it's more about feeling, but we have our luxury illusion formula that is going to help you feel luxurious on your travels, even if you don't have a whole bunch of money. And the first number one tip that we have is accommodations. So you can anywhere that I've traveled, I have found really, really cute places for very, very cheap. And I find like the way to do that is with booking sort of boutique hotels or maybe smaller, nicer homestays. You do have to do a little bit more research. Of course, it's easy to just go online and book a major chain hotel. But if you do your research and do a deep dive, like I love finding little places that feel quaint, but also feel clean and nice. If you are in a clean, nice, quaint place, I think you're just going to feel super luxurious on your trip.
Oh, 100%. And I think along with accommodation, you can look for, use that filter setting and like use it to kind of curate that vibe that you're wanting. So look if they have pools or balconies or a really cute interior, because those like little details can definitely elevate an experience and make you feel just like $1,000,000. One of my go-to platforms, and this is not an ad, but we kind of wish it was. No, just kidding. Booking.com. I've Booking.com has been just for me like the best platform with the best prices. And when you book on there quite a bit, you get a genius level discount. And so that's always helpful if you are budgeting on your trips and can find super great places.
I agree. The filter setting on booking is amazing. And I think also another thing is if you're doing like long traveling, of course you can't afford to stay, well, at least we can't afford to stay at beautiful
One
luxurious places
day.
for right one day. If you're doing a long trip, sometimes you can't afford to stay at beautiful luxurious places every single night, but it is really nice to, especially on an extended trip, every couple of nights or every couple of stops, book a place that's slightly more elevated than what you're used to. It's so nice to be able to treat yourself and to feel like you can really rest, really recover, enjoy a nice hot shower or enjoy a bathtub. It's just going to energize you and make you feel more ready for the rest of your trip. And just spacing out those moments of treating yourself also just makes the whole trip feel super long and super nice.
Yeah, and not only to be kind, to your wallet to kind of mix it up, but I also think it's really great to keep yourself on your toes. Like I love doing, one night in a hostel, but then 3 nights in a cute little apartment, then maybe a couple nights in a hotel or bed and breakfast. And so I think it is also just really great to mix it up. But anyways, that a lot to say on accommodation, but that's hey, where you're sleeping and where you're going to be. Part of it. Okay, next thing is spending on experiences and not everything. And so I think that to curate this trip that you're looking for, you have to prioritize. And so maybe not just spend, 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 but just pick out some things that you want to prioritize. Maybe 1 to 2 really nice meals, and then you do something a little bit more low key, like pop over to get a euro in Greece or pop over to the noodle shop and do something very low key to kind of keep that balance.
Totally. And the same thing goes for experiences. I think it's really nice to sort of book yourself on one or two iconic experiences. Maybe that's a boat trip. Maybe that's a safari. Maybe that is, a spa day, something like that. Pick one or two experiences that you are willing to sort of go a little bit deeper into the spending with, and then balance that out with, again, those sort of freer or cheaper experiences. Then maybe, one day you do an expensive activity and then the next day you do a free walking tour and you do some vintage shopping and you sit in a cafe and drink a €1 coffee. And that's your whole afternoon and you've spent almost no money. So I think it's really just sort of about mixing and matching, investing in the experiences that you want to, and then balancing that out by doing something free or cheaper the next day.
Yeah, and kind of just like a real time example, as Danny and I are planning our European honeymoon coming up soon, we're kind of applying the same thing of prioritizing and kind of doing the mix and match, like Brianna said. And so, like for example, part of our time in Sicily, like one of the days we're going to do this food tour, which was a little bit pricier, not food tours, cooking class, sorry. But you like go to the market, pick your ingredients, and then do the cooking class, which was a little bit more pricey, which we really wanted to do. But then something that we're maybe saving on is when we were looking to hike Mount Etna, the volcano. It can get quite pricey with the gondola prices. If you want to summit, you have to use a guide. So with guide prices and all of that adding up, it would be like 150 per person. Or don't quote me on that. Look it up, but something along those lines. No one quote me, please. Um, and so we kind of just decided, you know what, we want to do a casual hike, but we don't know if it's our priority to summit the volcano on this trip. And so we think we're going to do the more low key, free hike where it's still stunning volcano landscape, but we're going to save on that. So got to pick and choose.
That's awesome, and I can't wait to see photos from that hike. That sounds is that the okay, this is again, don't quote me, don't come at me for this. Is Mount No, I was about to I was
What?
about to ask if Mount Etna is the one that exploded over Pompeii, but that is absolutely incorrect.
But oh, okay.
Is
So
it?
golly.
It's Mount
Well,
isn't it Mount Vesuvius that exploded over Pompeii?
I'm not sure, but the thing is that I don't know the volcano situation outside of Sicily
Oh.
at the moment. Um, so we're gonna look into this, and or you can just let us know when you listen.
Okay, can't wait to find out. Okay, and our third tip to the luxury illusion formula is the idea of free luxury. So sometimes you can spend a little bit of money on something and then really get to extend or enjoy the experience. So there are things that are not necessarily luxurious but can feel quite luxurious. If you are watching a beautiful sunset over the Aegean Sea, nothing better. You're going to feel like, I mean, the views are straight out of a magazine. So it's, I think, just having an appreciation for the things that are free. Other things, some of the best beaches in the world are public beaches. So you can go, I mean, Albania is another great example. The beaches in Albania are the exact same as the beaches in Greece or in Italy. It's literally the same body of water, it's the same landscape. And you can go to a public beach and be in that crystal blue water that you see all over Instagram. And, you know, you can buy a €2 Peroni from the corner store and sit there with your friends on the beach and watch the sunset. And it's such a luxurious, beautiful experience. So I think just finding things that are free but feel really luxury just make you feel so grateful. And it's just a really wonderful way to enjoy your trip without spending a boatload of money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, our next one is tip number 4 is, what's the aesthetic and energy you're bringing? So, we're all about curating the life, the trip that you dream of. So, on these trips, you can curate kind of the how elevated it is. So think about what outfits you're packing. What are you wearing? So if what's the thing they said in school? Like, well, in college they used to say test or dress well, test well. So everyone would get all dressed up for their test. So just like bring the outfits that you feel great in. And then also, I feel like another thing is like, what music are you listening to on the flight or on the drives, or maybe when you're cruising somewhere, soaking in all the beautiful things around you? Like I feel that music can help elevate an experience and kind of put you in that space to have a beautiful, luxurious, and stunning trip.
Totally. And I love that phrase. It's like that whole, look good, feel good sort of thing. Spend a couple of minutes making your makeup extra nice in the morning, or spend an extra couple minutes and, use the blow dryer that morning. I think, especially when we're traveling, we're taking, at least me, I'm taking pictures all the time and I'm in way more photos when I travel than in my regular everyday life. And so, it's nice to look into the selfie camera and be like, oh, I look great today. Or it's just wonderful to sort of, be experiencing a new environment, meeting new people for the first time, seeing new things for the first time, and doing that in a way that you feel really good and you feel well presented. It just makes the whole experience really nice.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree with that.
And our final tip in the luxury illusion formula is smart convenience upgrades. So, traveling can be exhausting. It's best if you spend your money on things that are going to make your trip easier, more enjoyable, and just make smart, tiny, small decisions that help you feel less exhausted by the travel experience. So, for example, I love public transportation. I love a city that has a great public transportation system. If I know my flight is landing at 1 o'clock in the morning in a city that I've never been to before, I'm going to book a taxi or an Uber or an airport transfer. I'm not going to spend the very first night trying to figure out the local public transportation system. And it's that sort of one teeny tiny upgrade of being able to get off the plane, pay maybe a little bit more for the transportation, but get to the hotel, have a great night's sleep. That tiny little convenience upgrade actually makes a huge difference. It makes you feel rested. It makes you feel sort of more ready to take on the more challenging aspects of your trips. It's just, I think that spending on tiny convenience upgrades really make your trip feel a lot nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another example of that kind of theme is um, I'm always a fan of it never hurts to ask. So might as well ask. They could always just say no. You never know. So if you get in super early and you're like, what am I going to do? Like, I check in's not till 3 p.m. Dang. Or kind of on the other side is you're like, oh, I have so much time in this day. Like, a later checkout would be really helpful in the flow of my trip. It never hurts to ask. Sometimes they're a hard no, and you're like, okay, then we pivot and figure it out. But sometimes
Yeah.
I've found people to be so kind. And so that could be really helpful to have that extra hour or two or whatever is available. To make your trip a little bit more flowy. And also, I think with your bags, it never hurts to ask if they have a place where you can store your bags if you have to spend a little bit more time in the place you're at before you take your transportation out. So don't be afraid to ask for those little things because all they can say is no, or they can say yes, and that's great. It helps you on your trip.
To- totally. That's a great tip. And then the other sort of thing that I was thinking about for this one is this is something that I've done very recently, actually, this whole year in my past year of travel, especially when you are like Morgan or I, and you're not necessarily going on big long trips for a long period of time, but you're trying to squeeze things into a weekend or you're trying to squeeze things into a 5 day trip. It really makes a difference to pay a little bit more for those skip the line tickets because you don't want to feel like you have spent your whole trip standing outside in the blazing sun waiting in line to go somewhere. Most big iconic places have that you pay a couple extra more dollars to sort of skip the long line. So I'm thinking like I've done this at the Acropolis, I've done it at the Taj Mahal, I've done it at Angkor Wat. You spend, maybe an extra $5 or $10, but you save yourself 1 to 2 hours of standing in the blazing sun or in the freezing cold or in a big crowd. And it just makes you feel like your trip is, again, smoother and more luxurious.
That is amazing. Okay, moving on to a more rapid fire pace. We're going to do a quick round of tips, rapid fire speed. Okay, Brianna, you want to start us?
I do. So, number one, rapid fire, how to make your trips feel more luxury on a budget. Travel in the shoulder season. It honestly makes such a big difference. The crowds are also less. The weather is still beautiful. All of the major landmarks are still there. But if you're not going in the super popular seasons, then the prices for everything are going to be cheaper.
Amen. I'm passionate about that. Okay, next one is use your credit card points strategically. If you have a credit card, you can use that strategically. For example, I have this one that if you spent a certain amount in the first 3 months, they gave you the equivalent of about $700 in points for travel. And so that can easily get you an international flight, which is usually one of the hugest costs on your trip. So use those credit card points strategically for sure.
And speaking about that, make sure you book your flights at the right time. Don't book things at the last minute if you can avoid it. Spend a little bit of time using different websites, looking at different airlines, pricing out what your options are, and checking every few days because flight prices do change. So if you give yourself a sort of longer runway to book your tickets, then you can sort of wait until you find the right day with the perfect price and you can end up saving sometimes huge amounts of money. The flight costs between sort of Bali and North America range between $500 to $1,000 in price difference on any given day. So just make sure you give yourself time so that you can take advantage of those deals.
Oh yeah. And sorry, just to add on to that, I don't know if I'm supposed to on rapid fire, but like and I think also, yeah, I think exactly what Brianna said, but I used to be a very last second book like flight booker, and it used to work for me because there was this sweet spot at the last second. But for whatever reason, these days looking, I feel like, I don't know, with gas prices and flight prices, it is not working in my favor for these last second flight purchases. So I think absolutely what Brianna said. Book it in advance. Okay. Anyways, next one is always a good one is split cost with friends. So if you're sharing accommodation, if you're, I mean, even sharing a taxi or an Uber, when you divide it by 3, 4 of your friends and you, like, it always helps make things more cost effective. So go with friends and hopefully y'all can split cost of things and really create a great experience.
Totally. And then our next tip is obviously just go places where your money goes further. It's wonderful to be able to spend your money in all different types of economies. It's nice to be able to experience nicer things. And sometimes that means traveling to cheaper places. So we've mentioned Albania, we've mentioned Bali, other places that are still also less expensive. If you've listened to our other episodes, go to Montenegro, go skiing there. It's amazing. Go
Oh,
skiing in
yeah.
Bulgaria. Like, it's beautiful there. There's so many places. Do your research. Again, those sort of lesser known, less traveled places. One, the nature is phenomenal. The culture is so deep. Like, it's really wonderful to experience the lesser traveled places. And then you also save some money, which is nice too.
Yeah, that's always a good combo right there. Okay. I guess just kind of shifting to a mindset shift of what luxury actually means. And I know it can probably mean different things to different people. But for us, luxury means more time, maybe more ease in the way you're traveling. And also just with more time and ease, I feel that it just really opens you up to beauty and opens you up to be present with where you're at. And I think that is the most luxury thing ever.
No, it truly is. Honestly, luxury, it's not all, Louis Vuitton and fancy. Luxury really is a mindset. It's how you feel on your trip, it's how your energy as you go through the day. And so we hope that this episode has given you guys some useful tips on how to incorporate a little bit more luxury into your travels. Morgan, if people want more tips, if they want to find us on the internet, where can they do that?
Yeah, you guys can find us at The Global Girlfriend on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. Or you can head over to our website, theglobalgirlfriend.com, and send us a little email there. We'd love to connect with you.
And if you like this episode, if you have female travelers in your life who you think would want to connect with us, please send them this episode or give us 5 stars. Anything you can do, any way you can share us really helps us grow. We appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for listening. We love you lots, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. See ya. Bye.
Bye.